beautiful, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of the Not So Black and White podcast. This is episode 5, and we're going to talk about faith and manifestation. We're going to get right into it. We're going to learn what it is and share our stories. But first, Deanna, our darling friend, is going to bring us gently into this moment with our mindful meditative moment. And so let us prepare our minds and prepare our bodies for this session.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. As always, if you are driving, please do not close your eyes. But if you are in a safe place where you're able to do so, please join us for a mindful moment as we get prepared for our conversation with episode 5 today. Just go ahead and take this moment, closing the eyes if you're able. Just allowing ourselves to arrive here in this moment. Give yourself the gift of not thinking about what has already come in this day. We're not thinking about what is coming next. Just giving ourselves the gift of being right here. Maybe even taking a moment, if you're able, to put both feet on the floor or the ground, wherever you are. And just see what it feels like to have both feet right here. Again, we're not in the past, we're not in the future. We are present in this moment with both feet right here. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath. In a moment, I'll ring the bell and we'll go ahead and start our conversation. And I invite you to just be fully present as you listen today. Please feel free to just be right here with us for episode 5 of the Not So Black and White podcast. Go ahead and take another nice deep breath. And go ahead and open your eyes. You can keep them closed if you want and you're listening. We're going to open our eyes so we can talk to you. But while you're listening, you want to use it as a meditation and have your eyes closed, please feel free. So today we're going to talk about, like Tammy said, and I'm really excited about manifestation and unwavering faith. Really, those two go together. And Tammy, did you want to get us started about what is manifestation? What does that mean to you? Maybe not sharing the story yet, just kind of what does manifestation mean in your world? How have you practiced that? And then I can speak a little and then we'll share stories because I think we both have great stories about manifestation. Yeah.
Sure. For me, manifestation is literally a demonstration, a result, a product. So manifestation for me or in my life, yes, it's a whole practice, but I find that sometimes, I don't know if this happens to you, Deanna, but you'll be talking and once you mention the word manifestation to some people, it's like they shut down. The word is in some circles overused, I'd say. Um, but for me personally, it's just, as you said, unwavering faith goes hand in hand with manifestation. It's me having faith in something. We'll get into that, but it's me having faith and then having my faith demonstrated to me, having my faith produce something. It could be a mindset change or a mental shift. It could be something physical. It could just be me seeing a butterfly somewhere. It's just about a demonstration of faith. That's what it is for me.
I love that. I haven't thought about it in that exact way. It's a demonstration of faith. Yeah, man. So for me, and I think it's the same, just maybe a different wording, is, taking a thought, and maybe, and it's based in faith always, but taking a thought and having that thought become something tangible in reality, right? But I think what you said about manifestation being an overused word is so true. I mean, you see it everywhere. And I think it's important to mention that manifestation to me is not about getting something, it is about becoming something,
I
right?
love that.
Yeah, it is all about energy, it's all about vibration. So if, let's just say, you want to manifest that dream job, right? Whatever that is, if your vibration is really low, and what I mean by that, if your vibration has doubt, anxiety,
Fair.
uncertainty, fear, if that's where your vibration is, you are not going to manifest something that is vibrating higher than where you are. You will attract what you are putting out.
Mhm.
And so again, I think, to kind of get away from manifestation as, oh, I'm going to get that job. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. It's really about your own vibration and becoming the vibration of what it is that you want. So focusing on not just what you can get through manifestation, but
Of
focusing on,
becoming.
right, where am I? What am I? Where's my vibration? Am I, just riddled with anxious thoughts, fearful thoughts? You cannot manifest something in that state. I mean, you'll manifest more anxiety, more fear.
More of what you're being in that
Right.
moment.
And so I think manifestation, it's deeper than just I'm trying to get something and create something tangible, but it also isn't something that's incredibly complex. It's not so complex. It's just, I think on social media and the messaging out there is, oh, we can do this moon ritual, or we can do this manifestation ritual, and you're going to create the husband of your dreams. Well, okay. Like, again, manifestation is around energy and co-creation with the universe. So you're
That's
tapping,
a that's a good word there, the co-creation. That's
right,
important.
tapping into that universal energy, that vibration of spirit, and raising your vibe to match that vibe. And then that's when things start coming, right? And that's when manifestation really happens. If you're going to sit in your house and go, I'm going to do this ritual because I want this fancy car, because this fancy car is going to make me feel good about myself. Even that might not be your
It's not
conscious
gonna
thought,
work.
right? That's your subconscious thought. That is the other layer of manifestation, is feeling worthy of what it is that you desire. And again, it goes back to that is a becoming of you,
Mhm.
is not,
Mhm.
oh, I want that car. That is not the purpose in that
It's
respect.
like this, how I usually liken it, or one way is think of a radio, right? You want to listen to reggae, but reggae is on 102.5.
Right.
You're currently on 96 FM.
Mm,
96 is playing R&B,
mm,
but you want to listen to reggae.
right,
You're trying to, in this current day and age term, you're trying to manifest reggae.
right,
It's
right,
already there.
right.
It's where it's supposed to be.
Right.
You now have to focus on raising your vibration, changing your channel or your tune, becoming someone who is vibrating at that frequency that's on 102, wherever the reggae is. So as you're saying, it's about the becoming. It's not about saying, I want the job so I can buy the car and the car will make me happy. It's about understanding what really makes you happy, not the materialistic stuff.
Right.
Understanding what happiness feels like and looks like for you.
Right.
Understanding who am I if I'm happy?
Right.
Then being or portraying yourself to be that person. Be happy, be on that frequency, and then the car and the job will come.
Right.
It won't necessarily happen magically overnight, but put it this way, it's like I think I've said this to you, Deanna, getting ready to be ready or be ready to be ready. If I'm gonna use myself as an example. So here I am at one stage in my life saying, I want a car, have a car on my vision board, feeling all nice. Yes, I'm manifesting a car. This is me brand new on my spiritual journey, not knowing anything, just going with what I'm seeing on social media. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to manifest this, I'm going to manifest that. Tamika, do you have a driver's license? How are you when you get this car that you're manifesting and it's on the lot and they call you, come pick it up. You just want a car, come drive it off. Oops, I can't drive it off. I got a license. I don't know how to drive. What am I going to do with a car? So, getting ready to be ready is the same as like changing your frequency, like raising your vibration by also doing physical things. So, if you want a car, make sure you have somewhere to keep the car. Make sure you can drive the car. Make sure you know how to get the car license. And in short, stuff like that. Know what a car needs. You get a car today, and then tomorrow they say, okay, you need to buy 4 tires. You have no idea what type of tires, where to buy tires, stuff like that. So it's, as you're saying, it's not just about getting a tangible thing. It's more about becoming,
Right.
like just finding something at higher vibrations all the time and raising your level and becoming higher and becoming better and more you, the higher or the best version of you.
Well, and I think there's also something to be said about surrendering in the process with manifestation of, yes, okay, we want the car or we want this, but there's also this piece of not being attached to the outcome, right? Of like, you have to be in
Mhm.
the flow and trusting that if that is actually not meant for your journey, it is
Right.
meant for you, and finding the peace with that and it's not easy, but it's all about being aware and having
Mhm.
intention, because the other piece of the manifestation is why why do you
Yeah.
what's your intention, being really clear on your why and digging deep, because again, using your example as a car, if you want that car, like you said, because deep down you feel like that is going to make you happy, that car's not coming for you.
Not coming.
That is not going to make you happy. We don't get
Nope.
our happiness from something external. And so,
Mhm.
even though you could do your manifestation rituals, you can have this intention that I want this, if deep
Mhm.
down your true why is not going to support your evolution and your journey, the universe is not sending you the car, not
Right.
that. So Tammy, I am so excited to hear your story. I've heard it before, but I want to hear it again about manifestation in your journey, because your story is incredibly powerful. So lay it
Thank
on us.
you.
We're ready.
All right, all right. So first, my story, I have to start by saying this. I was, when they say, oh, ye of little faith, that was me if you looked up faithless, you probably would have found me. I grew up in the church. I used to question every pastor. I question every deacon. I didn't have faith. I didn't know what to have faith in. I was always frustrated and angry because I felt like I, I mean, maybe I'm just here accidentally. I don't know what to believe in. And that came from a lot of trauma that I had as a child. Parent trauma, that's I'm sure a different episode. But the point is I had no faith. So fast forward in like 2017, 2018. 2017, I had just come out of a marriage. I started to explore single life and be on my own for like what was basically the first time in my adult life.
Mm.
And I realized at one point that I wanted more. So I started making, and this was before me even knowing the word manifestation. Like it wasn't a word in my vocabulary. It's not something that, or even law of attraction. It was nothing. I've never heard of those things before. But intuitively, I started making lists. I started writing down what I wanted. I realized that after having been single for a while, it was coming on almost 2 years now of me being single. I had learned to listen to my inner voice, my inner being. I had learned to meet myself because before I didn't even know there was an inner being either. I would get so mad at myself and not realize that who is the you that is getting mad at you? Like there's something else going on there. So over time, over that 2 year period, I got to understand that I started to learn more about myself. I fell in love with myself. I started enjoying my own company coming from somewhere where I didn't want to be alone. I used to do some questionable things to avoid being alone in any moment. And it got me in a lot of mess, in a lot of messy situations because I refused out of fear to like be alone. So I learned how to be alone. I learned how to fall in love with myself. I would go out with myself, take myself on dates, go on lunch dates, all of these things, and I would completely enjoy it. And then I realized I wanted a partner where I could share all this love I felt inside. I wanted to share that with someone. So I was no longer in a place where, because before I wanted someone to make me happy. I wanted someone to love me unconditionally. I wanted all those things because I didn't know how to feel it for myself. I didn't have that self-love, that self-worth, that self-value. And because of that, I started trying to get the love from outside. So now in this period when I started, falling in love with me, wanting to share that with someone, I started making the list. Made my list of the ideal partner for me, some way out there stuff too that based on my current knowing at that time, I didn't feel like I would even get this person, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make the list. Ever since I was a child, I felt like magic was real, and I was like, you know what? If there's magic, why can't I get magic? I deserve magic too. And I didn't think much of it. And please note, this was still before my actual like conscious spiritual journey started. This
Mm.
was just me saying magic is real and I should get magic too. So I made my list. And my son was involved in the praying party. I said to him one day, because I was a single mom, I was like, you'd like to have a good dad, right? Like someone who's there for you all the time. And he was like, yes, I would. He was 7. And I
Mm.
said, okay, when you go to bed at night, so what I'd like you to do is pray, say a prayer, ask God to send you that dad. Tell him exactly what you want. And for me, I continued with my list. I rewrote, I edited, it was a period of like about 3 months or so
Mm.
making that list. And then one day I was in town with my friend, and this guy is just passing. But it turns out that my friend, I was standing there with my friend and her cousin. Her cousin knew the guy. So he stopped and he was talking to him, and he basically turned and he was telling me how beautiful I am. I was like, okay, thank you. He wasn't doing any heavy flirting or anything. He was just telling me that, I'm beautiful. He likes me. Um, he basically said that he's gonna be with me. He's gonna get me. And I'm like,
He's
okay.
manifesting you now.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I don't know this guy, but all right. And so he told his friend good night. He told us all night. He left. This was only like a 10-minute conversation. He left. This was in March. In June, I left that job that I was at during that time. I had a lot of stuff going on. In August, I started at a new workplace. Started there, working there for a while. In like September, I'm walking and this guy came up. Hi, pretty lady. It was the same guy that saw me on the road. And I was like,
Oh.
hi. And he asked if I was okay, just regular stuff, walked off. And then we're working at the same place now. So he would see me in lunchtime and he would stop and just say hi, just simple things. So this was in September. So in December of the same year, I was at work one evening and I saw him during lunchtime. So I went to my desk. There's this like internal chat server that you can use. And please note, during this time, I don't know what this guy's name is. I see him. I have no idea what his name is. So I passed his desk. I looked because our desks have like our name tags there. So I peeked and I looked and I went and I searched for his name in the system and I said, "Hey, how are you?" And he messaged back and we started talking. So I said to him, "What are you like?" It was New Year's Eve. Yeah, it was New Year's Eve. So I said, "What do you usually do on New Year's Eve?" Me, on the other hand, I had nothing to do. My son was at a sleepover. He was fine. I was signed up to do overtime until like midnight. This was after 7 in the night. I had no life. And I was like, what are you doing? And he said, I usually chill with my friends. And so um, I'm an avid cannabis smoker. So I said, do you smoke? And he was like, sometimes. And I said, do you smoke tonight? And he replied saying, yes, my shift ends at 8. And I was like, wait, did you just answer the question I didn't ask? And he said, yeah, I end at 8. And I was like, okay, I canceled that overtime so fast.
Right.
And then I went back to him and I was like, okay, I leave at 8 too. And then he said, all right, I'll meet you on the front. I'll pick you up. I said, okay. I didn't even know this guy drove.
Mm.
And I said, okay. So in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm not going home tonight. I don't know. My head was still probably in that risky business place. I don't know what was going on. And fast forward, we ended up spending the night together, watching fireworks, walking in the town. We literally had a chill evening of just talking. We watched the fireworks. He stood up with me from midnight to 5:30 in the morning, just talking.
Hmm.
We were on my friend's roof just talking, talking, talking. And how I felt, it, even on that night, he said to me that he can see us in our old age watching our grandkids playing in the back. And I'm like, and for some reason, Deanna, it did not sound creepy when he said it. Usually these things are kind of weird when somebody said it to you on a first date. But he's telling our whole lives, and I'm like, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. So we decided that we're gonna date. He spent a month courting me. He was like, "You've been married, but you've never been courted. That's not right. I'm gonna court you." And he took me out on dates. He opened all the doors, and there's a new trend on social media now where the guy peels the orange. He peeled all my oranges, basically, because they're saying, oh, if he loves you, he'll peel your orange for you, figuratively.
I've never
So
heard that. New to me.
I don't know what's going on. But yes, so he did all the things. He brought me out. He was respectful. Um, I felt like something was growing and I didn't want to confuse my son. So I didn't introduce him to him for a good while.
Mm.
And so when I realized that things were getting serious, after like a month, he asked me, like, he told me that he loved me, but how he did it, it was like we were driving and he was saying, like, we were just having a regular conversation, and in my head, all I could think was, I really want to tell him I love him, but I don't know if it's too early. And I'm there in my head, just going on and on and on. And then he just turned to me and said, I'm in love with you. And I'm like,
Oh.
okay, I love you too. And so it became a thing where we went into a full-blown relationship. And carrying it back to manifestation, everything that I had on my list, this man was. Everything that I asked for in different ways, this man was. And it wasn't perfect, especially in the first 2 years. It was challenging because when we are asking for things, we tend not to be specific enough sometimes. We tend not to outline certain things, but we also tend not to realize that everything comes with black and white. Everything comes with up and down. Everything comes with a positive and negative. It's about balancing. So in the first 2 years of our relationship, I was faced with a lot of challenges because he didn't communicate well in terms of when it got to his emotions, and he would just shut down. And for me, that's a trigger. When you shut down, like I don't know what to do. I'm stressed. But in that moment, I kept getting this feeling. And then that's when I started on my spiritual journey. So I started feeling this is what you asked for. It still feels right. Trust. And I just kept getting that trust. And trust is the same basically as faith. And it led me to start seeing that things work out for you if you have faith that they will work out for you. Because now we are entering the 6th year of our relationship, and it's the best relationship I've ever had. I feel like I was saying it to him like last week. I feel like we're still in the honeymoon phase, and I don't know how comes that's a thing. We have grown through the communication challenges because I prayed for this man. I am going to do what I can do in this relationship. There is nothing that's showing me that I need to leave. There's not like a red flag that says go. He just has his own things that he needs to grow and heal through.
Like we all have.
And like we all have. And I've realized that working together as a partnership, I don't really say husband or boyfriend or anything like that. We use partnership because we're doing this together. We are co-creating, and having, evolved on this journey where I can now see and say and know that we are all physical representations, physical manifestations of God, of the divine. We are all pieces of God. I am not going to look at your scars and say, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want that, because it's important when you choose someone and you continue to choose them, you realize that it unfolds almost perfectly. Um, and then, with all that love growing throughout the years in our relationship, in like year 4, we decided that we wanted to have a baby. I tried to get pregnant. It didn't happen. And I'm like, huh, what is going on? And I started beating up on myself. I started saying maybe something is wrong with me. It was a whole thing I kept doing. And then I remember after one of probably 10 pregnancy tests over the period of a month, I broke down. I was crying like crazy. I was in the bathroom, just bawling, bawling, bawling. And then I felt this feeling come over me. Um, I felt this feeling come over me. I stood up, I looked in the mirror, and I said, you are a mother. You're the mother of a daughter, because I already had 2 sons. And my daughter is knocking on the door if you're here.
In
But
real life right now.
I was like, I stood in the mirror and I said, you are the mother of a daughter. You have a daughter. You have a little girl. And I kept saying that to myself because I felt it. Like when I slept, I dreamt about her. Like sometimes I'd be in my waking moments, and for like a split second, it's like I'm living a life with a daughter. And then I'm like, oh, I don't have a daughter. I knew she was there somewhere. And it's the same thing with the radio station. You know reggae is playing on a station and you know that's what you want, but you're over here. What can you do? Yes, most of the things have to be done divinely. Like It has to be done from that higher source. But what can you do to align with that higher source? And that's why co-creation is what the word is. That's why it comes in, because you're working with the universe, you're working with divine to align correctly. And so I got this phrase that says, be ready to be ready. And I
Mm.
said, okay, what does that look like for me? What can I do to be ready to be the mother of a daughter? Deanna and friends who are watching and listening, I started getting up in the mornings and I started walking. I started doing squats to ensure that my hips were flexible enough to birth this child. I started doing planks so I could increase the strength in my core area so I can push when I needed to give birth. Please note, I wasn't pregnant.
Right.
This was me preparing.
This is
This
you,
was me,
right?
this is me becoming.
Right.
I started looking for where to get baby stuff. I started looking at the current prices for baby girl clothes. I started doing all the little things. I started eating healthier. I started drinking cleaner, more water, things that would ensure that my womb is a perfect habitat for this little girl. And I did all the things. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, I think I'm pregnant. And I took a pregnancy test. It was negative. I'm like, nope, I know I'm pregnant.
Oh,
I took two more. They were negative. I'm like, I'm going to the doctor because I know I am pregnant. I went, the doctor did the ultrasound. She said, well, I don't see a heartbeat or anything. There's a sac, but it's so tiny. I want you to come back in 3 weeks. Let's see if there's actually something there. And I confidently said, that's fine. I'm gonna come back and you're gonna see her. The doctor, she literally looked at me like I was crazy. And I just smiled. And I came out and I went back 3 weeks later and she was like, wow, that's a strong heartbeat. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I told you she was there. And going on into like my third month, we obviously at that time didn't know what the gender of the baby was, but I told hubby that it was a girl. I know it's a girl, so it's a girl.
no.
And I was touched because what he did, he went out and he bought girl clothes.
Wow.
And that was an act of faith in not only the universe, but it was an act of faith in me on his part because he's trusting that I am so connected that I can know. And that made me cry so hard.
Good
And then
tears.
yeah, nine,
Good tears.
9 months later, my daughter was here and my son's delivery time was like 20 something hours, 21 hours and 24 hours. My daughter was 3 hours.
No.
My core was so strong. My hips were so good and ready that when it was time to give birth to her, I
Yeah.
was ready because I got ready to be ready. And so, like, in close of my little story here, my long story here, when you know that you want something not from a place of, like with the relationship, it wasn't from a place of me wanting love from somewhere else. It wasn't from a place of me needing to have some external validation of my value or my worth. It was me knowing all those things about myself, being firmly and strongly in my own power, knowing that I am worthy, I am worth it, I am well, I am at peace, I am happy, and I want to share that with someone.
Right.
That's when I was
You weren't looking for someone to complete you, right?
right,
Oh,
right.
like I am whole and complete and I'm ready to share that with somebody else. That's
Exactly. And that's what I believe there. That's what I know aligned me on that path to be able to co-create with divine to just bring forth this relationship, bring forth that little girl. And now I have a family where I'm coming from a place, D, where I would wake up in the mornings crying. I said that in, one of our previous episodes. I would wake up so depressed. I was on different medication for my mental stability. And now when I wake up in the mornings, I cry sometimes, but in a different way. I cry because I'm like, oh my God, is this me?
right.
And the happiness and peace that I feel inside now, I tell people I can't teach faith. I can't teach you how to have faith. But if I could bottle how I feel or share how I feel to as many people as possible, I will because all of those things that happened in my life and that happened to and through me happened to show me this level of faith. Because now, no matter what goes wrong in my life, no matter what's happening, my mind, my whole being always reverts to everything works out for me. Everything is happening for my highest good. My ships, everything that I need come in when I am calm. My ships come in over a calm sea. Like, no matter what, I'll be good. I'm good because I am a co-creator with the divine. Once you co-create, you become a co-creator. It's always in you. It's just about how to tap in. It's just about, mindfulness, listening to yourself, being present, and knowing what you need in whatever moment to know how to raise your vibration and how to not be constantly in fear and anxiety mode. Um, so that's my little trick or tip for manifesting in your life in any way. Look at who you are, look at where you are, and what and who you need to become to get what you are trying to get. And as Deanna said just now, remember why you were trying to get it. Because if your intentions are not like pure and clear and coming from a place of like higher vibration, then you're probably not going to get it. And then you're going to end up saying, oh, manifestation is not a thing and these rituals. And then it becomes a whole spiral down. So yeah, just remember who you are and think about why you want the things you want and try to work on becoming that version of yourself that has those things.
Yeah, man. That's such
Yeah.
an amazing story, and to see you now and a healthy and thriving relationship. And I've seen your little girl, she's so cute. So yeah, and I love that your story is really rooted in you making the conscious choice to be worthy of what you wanted and to focus on working on you to make that happen. So your focus wasn't just on the man or the baby.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's ultimately something that I want, but really your focus was, how do I get there? So you're walking, you're doing all these things, you're making the list, right? So I'll share a short version of my manifestation story of how I moved to Jamaica. And I hoping that you will see in my story some of the surrender that had to be there and the not attached to an outcome, right? And so I came to Jamaica. I think I shared it already. I know 2015 as a tourist. I was here for 10 days. I went back to California and told everyone, I said, yep, I'm moving to Jamaica. And people were like, what? Like, you were there for 10 days. What do you mean? And I could feel, kind of, they would laugh and be like, yeah, everyone goes away on vacation somewhere. And, you kind of have that, I fell in love with my vacation place. And yeah, we all want to move there, and that's not going to happen. Right. And I feel their doubt. And I just went, yeah, but no, but I am like, and I would come back with this just certainty, I am going to live there. And then they would ask me, well, how are you going to do that? When are you going to do that? And my response intuitively right away was, I have no idea. I don't know. Like, I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know when this is going to happen, but I know that it's going to happen. And that was where my unshakable faith came of just, no, I just knew. And even to this day, I kind of laugh going, how did I know? I don't know. I just knew. I was like, this is happening. And so I tapped into the power for me of visualization. And so I looked through the countless photos that I had in my phone from that trip to Jamaica. And I was like, all right, I'm picking out my favorite one. Which one do I love? And I picked out one of this lone fishing boat docked at sea, and it was right across from Peter Tosh's grave. Like, I remember going there, and in this moment I feel away. What part of Jamaica was that? I don't know. I have to go back and look. Where was Peter Tosh buried? I don't know. Somewhere here. But I was there, and I remember turning around like at the gate where you could go into the grave and you had to pay money, and I was like, I'm not paying money to go in there. Like, I'm all right. And so I stayed outside and I turned around, and there is just the Caribbean Sea and this fishing boat, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, man, God, it's beautiful. So I took that picture when I got home and I sent it off to Vistaprint, make me a canvas. And I wanted a canvas, like a big one of that photo. And when it came, I hung it up in my room right where across from my bed. So when I woke up in the morning, that is the
Me.
first thing that I see. It's like sometimes I'd be opening my eyes through, tears of burnout and just, oh God, I don't want to do this. And I'd see that picture and it's like it strengthened me somehow where I go, oh wait, where am I going? I'm going there. That is where I'm going. And I'd say, well, Deanna, how are you going to get there? We don't know. I don't know. But that is where I'm going. And so I started every morning going, this is where I'm going. And then I went two steps further with the visualization. And I took my favorite picture of the Blue Lagoon from Portland, and my front door in my apartment was strangely magnetic. I don't know why, but I put that picture in like a magnet frame on the inside of my door so that every time I left my house, I'd look at that and go, where are we going? That is where we're going. We're going right there. And then at that time, I was a school administrator and I was the principal of the special ed preschool program. And I had 8 teachers and I think about 25 or 30 teachers' assistants. And at that time, after I'd come back from Jamaica, school was starting. So I was training and doing a couple of days of professional development for my staff. And I thought, what a fun gift for them. I printed out different pictures of Jamaica from my trip. I went to the dollar store, got a little frame for everyone, wrote a little nice note on the back. And,
That's
not
so sweet.
not pictures of me, but pictures of like the sea, the jungle, like just all parts of
Mhm.
Jamaica. And I gave them to all of my staff as like a welcome back gift. I want to share this with you. But I had a secret intention there of they all put them up in their classrooms, they put them up in the offices. So on my
Also, you see them all the time. That's smart.
will wake up in the morning and there's my canvas. Where are we going? Right there. All right. I go to my front door. Where are we going? Right
Right
there.
there.
To work, every desk around me, every classroom, pictures of Jamaica. And I'm just like, okay,
Yep.
where are we going? I even have one
Jamaica.
of my teachers, and God, she was so amazing. She's still alive and working, but she created a cozy corner in her classroom with the picture of Jamaica, and she used it as a quiet area for her students when they needed to take a break. It was one of their options. They could go to Jamaica and they could go sit at that little table, look at the picture, and then she took like one of those science fair boards, the big cardboard ones that open up, and she put different pictures of, relaxing places, blah, 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 and just created this for her students. And I was like, oh my gosh, so amazing. So that
Mhm.
vibration was just kind of out there, and I'm tapping into that every day. And on stressful days, I'm like in a classroom going, oh, but look, where are we going? We're going right there. Like I could see it. And I still do this. I change the wallpaper on my phone and my computer really regularly with different photos of whatever is uplifting for me. Of course, it's usually beautiful pictures of Jamaica. Like I'm looking right now on the desktop of my laptop. It's this beautiful picture I just took a few months ago up in Long Bay with my journal, my pen, my coffee mug, and it's overlooking the sea while I was writing in my book that morning. Like that journal is about my book, and that is what I am manifesting now. So I'm like, okay. So on my desktop, I see that, and the
Right.
coffee mug, it wasn't mine, it was someone else's, but the coffee mug says good vibes only. So when I open up my computer, I see the coffee mug, good vibes only. I see my journal, I see the sea, and I'm like, what are we doing? We're writing a book. That's what we're doing. And that's so, for me, just bringing it all back to the manifestation, I think that visualization can be a really useful tool as well with manifestation. But again, it all comes back to your own vibration and that surrender. When people would ask me, how are you going to do it? When are you
No
going to?
idea.
I don't know. Like,
That how is not our problem.
Right. I'm like, that is not for me to solve in this moment, that
Mhm.
unfold as life unfolds. And then it's trusting myself to be discerning and know, like when opportunities come up that could help me to get there. I can't just sit here in my house and dream of Jamaica and all of a sudden I'm there. That's not how it works. Like we said, it's a co-creation and
Right.
letting go. And I did say earlier, it's letting go of the outcome. For me, I didn't let go of that, to be honest. I was like, no, this is happening. This is happening. Now, if things had happened along my journey to reveal to me that that is not what I need in my journey, whatever, then I follow those signs. I am
Right.
you right now from Jamaica, and I've lived here 5.5 years. And from the very first trip to me moving here was 3 years. Now, if I had said on my first trip, oh, I'm going to move in 3 years and this is what it's going to look like, I don't know that it would have happened. To be honest, like I would have never thought it would have happened in 3 years. To me, that would have been, oh, that's a 5 year, a 10 year, like that's a long-term dream. But because I let go of all of that and surrendered that
Yeah.
to the universe of, I don't know. It's like for me, then it happened in 3 years. And like I said, ultimately, that was a lot faster than I would have probably ever put down on paper or put in my
Mhm.
head of when. So I think it's important with manifestation that, we really surrender and let go of the how, let go of the when. These are things
Mhm.
we can't always control. I mean, we can never control, we can wish and dream that they happen in a certain time. But I have found in my experience that when I try to put like a timeline on something, it puts pressure on me in a way
Mhm.
that becomes a block, because I've got this arbitrary, I want it done by this time. And then it's like, if I'm not making what I think of adequate progress to getting there or whatever, then the fear comes in, the doubt comes in, the
Yep.
questioning, and it changes my vibration and it just slows me down. So I have found it to be more powerful to just go, okay, yep, like for my book, for example, I want to write this book. I have started writing this book. I have started it 5 years ago writing this book. So it's been happening, and I realize that, I can't put a time, I'm not going to say my book will be finished by here. No, I don't know. It will be finished in the right time if I keep putting my energy into it. I can sit here all day and dream about a book, but if I never sit down and write it, where's it going
It
to
won't
come?
get written.
Right? Like it has to be written. And so that is the first thing. And for me, it's about, like I said, in our mindful moment of both feet right here in this present moment. What do I need to do in this present moment to be tuned into myself, to be aware of where I am at, and what can I do immediately right now that can support that longer vision, for example, of the book. So this morning, before getting on here to film, I'm like, Deanna, this is your sacred time this morning. You're not going to look at your phone. You're going to sit down and you're going to write something for the book, because that is how that book will get written. Is it has to be me sitting down and doing it every day. And I have let go of, I don't have this dream that, oh, I'm going to write a best-selling book, blah, blah, blah. Have I thought about sitting down with Oprah and talking about my book? Yeah, mom, like I thought about it, but that is not the outcome I'm trying to get. My outcome in this moment is just write the book, see what happens. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not even going to worry about what happens when it's finished. Is it going to be self-published? Is it going to be a traditional? I don't know any of that. And until I write the damn book, none of that even matters. Just do the thing.
True. True.
So yeah,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts to share on all of that, Tammy?
I mean, before I share my thoughts, I just want to put it out there. for you that you're going to share with us your link to your journal on Amazon when it's ready. So we can, right? We can check that out because why wouldn't we get a journal from Deanna? So, guys, look out for that. We will definitely link it when it is ready.
Yes.
But in terms of manifestation and faith and what you just said, Dee, I mean, I totally agree. Visualize it. Even that thing with like the phone screen or the desktop. I use that with my phone because I have my phone in my hand a lot. And I learned that like a year and a half ago or something. And so when I am wanting to accomplish something, wanting to manifest or co-create something, I will get a picture of it or a picture that represents it. And
Right.
I'll put it on my phone. So when I look at my phone, I will get that kind of energy, that kind of feeling. And all in all, it's an amazing thing when you can see, as you just showed us, like your journey of coming to Jamaica. It's amazing when you can see that when we have faith, when we trust, when we do the things to keep our minds focused on those things that we want, how it unfolds is usually so magical. So you just said that 3 years would have sounded really short to you. And look at you here now. You're like a Jamaican. So I want to share with everyone listening and watching that nothing, let me show you this book. Nothing is impossible. The
Mm.
book says, I don't know if you can see it.
It's
I guess not.
oh,
Blurry. It says nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible.
yeah, Mom, I love that.
So with manifestation, I want people to realize that even though the word seems a bit oversaturated in the social media, in media overall, just knowing that there is a higher source that we're connected to, that higher divine source that created us, that did not leave us alone, that is still with us. We can work together. We can co-create when we're coming from a good place, and good looks different in every situation, I guess. But when we're coming from a place of clear understanding, clear intentions, when we know like what we want, because you can't get what you want unless you know what you want. You knew you wanted to live in Jamaica. You didn't know how. You didn't know when. You just knew you wanted to live here. Knowing what you want and being able to detach from that outcome, to just surrender, to say, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, this is what I want. If something comes along the way to show me that this is going to be harmful to me, then yes, naturally, I am going to want something different. But this is what I want. And right now, the how isn't my problem. Focus on what you can do in that moment to help you get there. As you did with the pictures, you intentionally had them all over the place so you could see them. You could have it planted in your mind, Jamaica, 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 Jamaica. For me, it was my list. For me, it was getting things for a little girl, getting teddy bears, stuff like that. To see in my head, my mind thinks, yeah, you have a daughter somewhere. Where is she? Oh, she's here. So it's definitely an amazing journey when we intentionally co-create.
Oh,
Yeah. And
yeah.
it definitely helps with our mindset, or because I mentioned before on this conversation, I've mentioned before that I used to have a lot of mental trouble. And now those things aren't like affecting me anymore simply because surrender. I have learned to let shit go. Just let it go. You can't control everything. You can't be the head of everything. Just sometimes let things go and you'll see that it unfolds perfectly.
Well, and I think we should end there with, I mean, I believe a real key of manifestation, like we talked about before, it's the becoming. The more you let go, then the more you are clearing your energetic body, you are healing your trauma, you are doing your work, then
Mm-hmm.
that manifestation will start working with you as well. If you are stuck in, continual and perpetual thoughts that are anxious and fearful, that's where your work is. Your work is there. Your work is not praying for the car. Your work is not right. I mean, you can write the list, you can pray for the car, that's fine. But the work is the fear. Work is
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. The work is coming back to knowing yourself. Where does that come from? Getting to the root of where your fear, your anxiety is coming from, and cleaning that out of the system. And that means
Mm-hmm.
doing the work. Doing the work. I mean, it's not as simple as just, okay, let everything go. Well, yeah, let it go, but you have to figure out exactly what it is
What's going on?
you need to let go. And sometimes that comes from a deep trauma place. And again, that's the power of the manifestation, is realizing that the work is you and it's inside. And once that is in the right place, then everything manifests much easier. So
Mhm.
what a beautiful conversation. I'm going to help us end with a mindful moment. But before I do that, just please jump into the comments, send us an email, however you want to communicate. We would love to hear your thoughts on manifestation, your experience, or if there's something that you heard us talk about today that either resonated with you, brought up a question for you, please reach out and connect, because the more that we have authentic connections with each other, then we can learn from each other and share those experiences and make the conversation even more rich and valuable for everyone.
Mhm.
That is our ultimate goal, is to just help, man, to like put some things out there in good vibes from a place of intention of helping people and helping to shift the energy of the world, because I think we'd all agree, man, that the world can use some more light.
Good one.
Yeah, light and energy. And when we are having authentic conversations around topics like this, then we are helping to make that shift for not just us, but everybody. And all of us are part of that, not just me and Tammy. Everybody who listens, everybody who
Mhm.
joins, the more energy that we create in this community, the bigger the ripple effect is out into the world. So comment, talk to us, share your thoughts, and we cannot wait to hear from you. So I am going to close episode 5 for us today with a mindful moment. So if you would please indulge yourself, if you are able, and close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath here. Just take a moment to let this conversation ripple through your mind, ripple through the body, and just see what resonates with you today. I invite you, if you have time after we close this episode, to stay sitting in silence and just see what comes up in your mind space after the conversation today. Just noticing those thoughts, noticing any feelings. Maybe you'd like to write in your journal as you process what you heard today. And if that doesn't resonate, that's all right. I just invite you to take a little time and see what comes up for you about manifestation and unwavering faith after today's episode. Let's go ahead and take another nice deep breath here. And like I said, if you have the time and you can continue to sit in silence, I invite you to give yourself that gift. If you don't have the time now, perhaps later. And go ahead if you would like, and you can open your eyes as we wish you goodbye and a beautiful day. Thank you for being with us. We are excited to hear anything you want to share with us, and we look forward to connecting with everybody soon. And this concludes episode 5 of the Not So Black and White podcast, and we'll see you next week.